The town of Luthian's Edge was the kind of place that vanished from maps over time. Tucked deep in forested hills and blanketed in permanent mist, it was the last stop before wilderness swallowed the road. Alex Palmer had been assigned to survey the old telecom tower on Mount Venn, an ancient skeletal structure from the Cold War era, now obsolete, but somehow still powered. The town council claimed it interfered with GPS and radio signals. Most thought it was haunted. Alex didn't believe in ghost stories. He believed in signals, interference, and logic. He arrived at the tower just before sundown. The climb up the hill was steep, but what unnerved him wasn't the physical effort. It was the silence. No birds, no wind, only the tower, humming faintly like it had a heartbeat. At the base, he found the entrance to the bunker, a rusted steel door sunken into the earth. It wasn't locked. The air inside was stale but warm. Dim red emergency lights flickered on automatically. The walls were covered with peeling lead paint, cables dangling like vines. The deeper he went, the more the sound changed, from faint hum to static hiss. At the heart of the bunker was the signal room, lined with consoles, blinking monitors, and analog dials. In the center stood an old recording machine. It was running. He checked the logs. It had been recording something every night at 3:13 a.m. for the past 19 years. The files were corrupted, but one entry was intact. April 12th, 2006. He pressed play. It began with a low-frequency buzz, then a whisper. Not words, but sounds mimicking language, crawling just under human comprehension. Then a voice. "I'm still down here." Alex froze. The voice was calm, like someone speaking through a drain pipe. I tried to turn it off, but they made me part of it. The file cut out. A sudden clang echoed from the hallway. Alex grabbed his flashlight and shone it out the door. Empty. When he turned back, the monitors were on. All of them. Each screen showed different parts of the facility, but from angles he hadn't seen when entering. Some rooms weren't even familiar. One screen showed a room filled with chairs, each occupied by a man with no face, twitching violently. Another showed Alex himself, standing in the signal room, but on the screen his reflection was grinning. He tore the machine's power cable from the wall. The screen stayed on. Panic rising, Alex pulled out his phone to call for help. No signal. Of course. He started backing toward the door when all the screens flickered, then synced into a single feed. A dark hallway, camera slowly creeping forward. As it rounded a corner, it showed a door labeled Signal Room. From outside, the camera feed was approaching him. He turned and sprinted through the corridor, breath sharp in his throat. But the hallway didn't match his memory. He ran for 5 minutes, then 10, but the path looped back, always curving into itself. Finally, he collapsed in exhaustion and turned into a maintenance closet, locking himself inside. That's when he heard the voice again. "I told you. They made me part of it." Alex tried not to scream. From under the door, a thin trail of dark static leaked in, black particles crawling like insects. His flashlight died. Something scraped against the other side. When the door finally burst open hours later, a rescue team found Alex curled in the corner, shivering, eyes fixed on something none of them could see. He didn't speak for weeks. Eventually, they moved him to a private facility. He never explained what happened in the bunker. But at exactly 3:13 a.m. each night, the speakers in his room emit a low buzz, followed by a whisper, "I'm still down here." Kara moved into the old brownstone in Baltimore for the price of a used car. Too good to be true, she thought, but she was broke, newly divorced, and desperate for space. The neighbors kept their distance. One older woman whispered, "Don't feed the walls," and shuffled away. The house was cold even with the heat on. The walls pulsed with dampness and sometimes gave off faint clicking sounds like cockroaches crawling inside. But the plumbing worked, the roof didn't leak, and Kara had her own place. On the second night, she found a note in the hallway. "Hungry. Just a little. It'll stop if you feed us." She laughed it off as a prank, probably left by a squatter or former tenant. But the next morning, she woke to scratch marks across her bedroom wall, deep grooves like fingernails had clawed at the plaster. That night, the clicking grew louder. The kitchen wall began to bulge as if something inside was pressing outward. Kara grabbed a knife and cut the wallpaper. Nothing. She smeared plaster to cover the scratches and ignored it. until the walls whispered. She was brushing her teeth when the voice hissed, "Please, just a little, a pet, a rat, anything." She ran out of the house and didn't return until dawn. Desperate, she adopted a stray cat from a shelter. That night, she left it near the bulging kitchen wall. The next morning, the cat was gone. No fur, no mess, just silence stopped clicking. Weeks passed in peace. Then it began again, softer, slower. More, still hungry. The walls pulsed and moaned at night. She tried music, sleep aids, even sleeping at friends' homes. But when she returned, the house would always be colder, the walls always louder. So she fed them again, first stray dogs, then roadkill. Eventually, things she didn't talk about. The house gave back in return. The floors stopped creaking. Her failing health improved. Her bank account, empty for months, suddenly showed deposits labeled only as feeding fee. She stopped questioning until one night she found her own name written on the wall. Soon, Kara. She screamed, begged, pleaded. The walls whispered back, "One last meal, one we choose." That night, her sister showed up, unexpected, visiting for the weekend. Kara tried to send her away, made excuses, but the walls moaned. They were waiting. At midnight, the pipes burst open and black slime poured from the vents. The lights flickered. The walls pulsed like lungs. The house wanted blood. Kara locked herself in the bathroom, crying. The door slammed open, but it wasn't the house that entered. It was her sister, eyes blank, mouth whispering, "Just a little, just one." When the police found the house days later, it was empty. No Kara, just walls covered in fingerprints. Hundreds of them, like hands had clawed from the inside. The only sound was the whisper coming from the pipes, "Still hungry." Jordan worked the night shift at a 24/7 gas station in a rural Arizona town. Quiet most nights, just coyotes and truckers. At 2:47 a.m., a man walked in. Pale, tall, wearing clothes decades out of style. He didn't speak. He just stared into the security mirror above the register. Jordan greeted him. No response. Then the man whispered, "You see them too, don't you?" Before Jordan could reply, the power cut out. Total darkness. The emergency lights flickered on. The man was gone. But every screen, lot monitor, aisle cam, freezer cam, was filled with the same frozen frame. Jordan sleeping at the counter. But Jordan was awake. Suddenly the store door slammed shut, locking. A child's laughter echoed from the cereal aisle. Jordan checked the aisle. Empty, except for a crumpled missing child poster lying face up. His phone vibrated. One new voicemail. No number, just static, and his own voice whispering, "Don't turn around." He turned. The man was inches away, eyes hollow, face melting into static. And then Jordan woke up. Back at the register. It was 2:47 a.m. The door opened. The man walked in again. A college student named Daniel died in a car crash one rainy night. The impact was so violent, authorities said he died instantly. But his girlfriend, Emily, swears he called her hours later. At 3:12 a.m., her phone lit up. Daniel was calling. Trembling, she answered, but only heard static and a faint whisper, "I'm still here." The call dropped. She checked the voicemail. It was empty. The next morning, she called his number again. The line connected, but a stranger answered. "This number was reassigned yesterday," the voice said. "Who are you?" Emily never called again, but every year on the crash's anniversary, her phone rings at 3:12 a.m. She doesn't answer anymore. I inherited the farmhouse from my uncle, a man I barely knew. It was isolated, 30 miles from the nearest town, hidden among overgrown trees and fields long gone wild. The locals in town called it the Hollow House. They said it breathed. I laughed it off. I shouldn't have. The first night, I slept lightly. The wind howled, floorboards creaked. Old homes do that. At 2:19 a.m., I heard something else. Tap, tap, tap. Not above, not beside. Beneath. I froze. The sound came from directly under my bed. 3 taps, then silence. I turned on the light. Nothing. The next night, same time, it happened again. This time, followed by a soft whimper, like something crying in pain. I checked the basement. Old foundation, dirt floor, mildew stench. Nothing. I slept downstairs the next night. At 2:98, louder now. I put my ear to the wood. A voice whispering, "Let me out." I ran back to the motel in town. The old woman at the front desk stared when I said the address. "You stayed there?" "Yes." Why? She said nothing, just handed me a worn newspaper clipping. "Man found dead under floor, self-buried alive." My uncle. He had buried himself. Under the floor. They found him clutching a Bible and smiling. They say he heard something down there, said it called to him, promised him a voice louder than God. I should have walked away, but I went back to burn it down. Only when I returned, the house was already open, the front door wide, a light on upstairs. The tapping was waiting for me, but it wasn't under the floor anymore. It was behind me.
Closer.
I found my uncle's journal hidden beneath a loose board, each entry more frantic than the last. I covered the hole, it came back. It doesn't want to be freed, it wants me to listen. I tried earplugs, it screamed louder. God won't save me, I'm his echo now. Then one final line, if you hear it, do not respond. That night, I stayed awake, headphones in, music blaring, but at 2:19 a.m. the power cut, and the music stopped. Then came the voice. "I hear you breathing." I didn't speak, didn't move. The air turned ice cold. I saw my breath, and in it, a face, translucent, grinning, upside down, as if hanging from the ceiling above me. Then I blacked out. I woke in the basement. The dirt was disturbed. The journal was in my hand, a new page written in my handwriting. You let it in. You listened. It made me dig. I didn't want to. I begged not to. But my body didn't listen. Hours passed. Nails bled. Then I found it, a bone box. It pulsed. It whispered, "You will be my voice now." When I screamed, my mouth didn't move. The sound came from beneath me, from the box. I don't know how long it's been. I think I'm in the walls now. Sometimes people come to the house, they don't stay long, because at 2:19 a.m. I tap just 3 times. And then I whisper, "Let me out." If they answer, they never leave.